Hello students, today we will discuss about the histology of the lymph node. Learning objectives. The learning objectives are: describe the microscopic structure of the lymph node, identify lymph node under microscope, enumerate various types of immune cells of lymph node and discuss their function, and describe the pathway of circulation through a lymph node.
The gross structure of the lymph node. It consists of oval or bean-shaped encapsulated structure, generally 2 to 10 mm in diameter. It is distributed throughout the body and situated along the course of the lymphatic vessels. They serve as filters of the lymph, that is, removing the particulate matter and bacteria from the lymph before it enters the cardiovascular system, thereby localizing and preventing the spread of infection. Lymph nodes are usually found in groups, especially in the axilla, groin, and along the great vessels of the neck, and in large numbers in the thorax and abdomen, especially in the mesenteries.
Lymph node has many lymphatic vessels which enter through the convex surface and called as the afferent vessels, whereas the efferent vessels they leave the lymph node through the hilum, that is the concave depression. Hilum also transmits the nerves and the blood vessels. Lymphatic vessels they are provided with the valves in such a way that the lymph flow is in one direction only. The histological component or the structure of the lymph node, it consists of stroma and parenchyma, and in stroma we are having the connective tissue framework, that is the capsule, trabeculae and the reticular stroma or the fibers. And the parenchyma, it consists of the cortex, paracortex and the medulla. Cortex, it is the outermost darkly stained, then we are having the paracortex and the innermost medulla. Stroma, it consists of capsule and trabeculae. The organ is surrounded by a thin connective tissue, capsule, which sends trabeculae into the interior. The capsule, it consists of the collagen fibers, some elastic fibers and some smooth muscle cells. Subcapsular sinus, it lies beneath the capsule and is traversed by the reticular fibers and the cells. The subcapsular sinus receives afferent lymphatic vessels and is continuous with the trabecular sinuses found around the trabeculae. The trabecular sinus becomes continuous with the medullary sinuses, and hilum, it is occupied by the mass of the dense fibrous tissue. The capsule and the trabeculae, they are the source of reticular fibers that are found throughout the node and form the main supporting network of the organ. Reticular stroma. Reticular stroma, it is made up of reticular fibers and associated with phagocytic reticular cells, forming a meshwork throughout the organ and is particularly dense in the cortex. It gives the structural support to the lymphoid cells, that is the parenchyma. Here in this picture you can see this is a special staining, that is a silver stain done just to see the reticular fibers in the lymph node. Parenchyma, it consists of the cortex, and in the cortex we are having the superficial nodular cortex and the deep cortex. This outer cortex, it is a peripheral part of the lymph node situated deep to the capsule. It is darkly stained outer part of the parenchyma. It consists of superficial nodular cortex and the deep cortex. The superficial nodular cortex, it consists of numerous lymphatic follicles or nodules. The lymphatic nodule, it may be with or without germinal center, formed mainly of B lymphocytes. A lymphatic nodule without a pale staining germinal center, that is called as primary nodule, whereas the one with germinal center, it is called as secondary nodule. The germinal center, it consists of large lymphoblast with more cytoplasm and lighter nuclei compared to lymphocytes which are at the periphery of the nodule. Germinal center, it is also called as a zone of B cell proliferation. Small lymphocytes, they encircle the germinal center and form a ring called as mantle zone or corona. Paracortex or deep cortex of the parenchyma, it is the inner cortical zone which does not have precise boundary with the outer cortex. It consists mainly of the T lymphocytes and is called as thymus dependent zone. Normally, no nodules can be seen in the paracortex. Sometimes discrete nodules are seen. The dense lymphoid tissue in the paracortex becomes continuous with the medullary cords. Then the medulla of the parenchyma, medulla, it has two components, that is the medullary cords and the medullary sinuses. Medullary cords, they are branching and anastomosing cords of typical lymphoid tissue, primarily made up of B lymphocytes, few plasma cells and macrophages. The medullary sinuses, they are the typical lymphoid tissue disposed between the medullary cords. As in the subcapsular and trabecular sinuses, medullary sinuses are traversed by reticular fibers and they provide support to the macrophages, B lymphocytes and the plasma cells. These medullary sinuses, they also help in the filtration of the lymph, trapping of the cellular debris and microorganism, and also antigen presentation to the immune cells. Medullary sinuses, they are lightly stained as compared to the darkly stained medullary cords in H&E staining. The medullary sinuses drain into efferent lymphatic vessels found at the hilum. Let us come to the flow of the lymph through the lymph node. The efferent lymphatic vessels that enter into the lymph node at its convex side, they enter into the subcapsular sinus and called as the efferent lymphatic vessels. From the subcapsular sinus, they enter into the trabecular sinus and reaches the cortex of the lymph node. From the cortex, through these trabecular sinuses, it enters into the medullary sinuses. And here in the medullary sinuses, they drain through efferent lymphatic vessels and leave the lymph node through the hilum. Let us come to the blood supply of the lymph node. Blood supply of the lymph node is through the arteries that enter at the hilum. They pass through the medulla to reach the cortex, where they end in the arterioles and the capillaries. These arterioles and capillaries are arranged as loops that drain into the venules, and these venules ultimately leave the lymph node through the hilum. Post-capillary venules in the lymph nodes, they are very unusual in that they are lined by cuboidal epithelium and they are called as high endothelial venules. This high endothelial venules, they readily allows the passage of the lymphocytes between the blood stream and the surrounding tissue. These endothelial cells, they bear receptors that are recognized by the circulating lymphocytes. Contact with these receptors facilitates the passage of lymphocytes through the blood vessels. Let us see the blood supply of the lymph node in a tabulated form. Arteries, they enter at the hilus. There, they are distributed throughout the lymph node through trabeculae as arterioles. These arterioles, they further divide into capillaries of the medulla and the cortex. Here, these capillaries, they drain into the venules and finally form the veins that come out of the node through the hilum. The second set of capillaries, they form the capillaries of the paracortical region and they are specialized and they are called as high endothelial venules, which are specified specifically for the lymphocytes that enter the lymph node. Let us come to the circulation of lymphocytes in the lymph node, which is also called as the homing of the lymphocytes. Lymphocytes enter the lymph node through the thin-walled post-capillary venules in the paracortex, which are lined by tall cuboidal or columnar epithelium containing lymphocyte homing receptors, so they are called as high endothelial venules. Circulating lymphocytes, they recognize the receptors on the endothelial walls and leave the bloodstream to enter the lymph node. Both T and B lymphocyte cells, they leave the bloodstream via high endothelial venules. The movement of the T and the B lymphocytes through the endothelial venules in the lymph node, it is called as the homing. Cells other than lymphocytes that are present in the lymph node, they are reticular fibers. They are numerous in number and they form the fibroblast. The numerous macrophages are present in the lymph node sinuses and around germinal centers. They are more numerous in medulla than in the cortex. Some of them lie along the wall of the lymph sinus. Macrophages play an important role in the immune response by phagocytosis of antigens and by presenting these antigens to the lymphocytes. That is the antigen presenting function. Macrophages are therefore referred to as immunological accessory cells. Several functional types of such cells can be recognized. Dendritic antigen presenting cells are present in the paracortex. Lining the blood vessel of the node are the endothelial cells. The lymph sinuses are also lined by endothelial cells, that is the pericytes, and smooth muscle cells are also present around the blood vessels. What are the functions of the lymph node? Lymph nodes are the center of the lymphocyte production, presentation of antigen to the T cells, activation and proliferation of the B cells, conversion of B cells into plasma cells and production of antibodies. It also filters the microorganisms from lymph through phagocytosis by macrophages, thereby localizing and preventing the spread of infection. Thus, the removal of bacteria, support of the humoral and the cell-mediated immunity are the major functions of the lymph node. Some interesting facts about the lymph node. Lymphocytes enter the lymph node from two sources, through efferent lymphatic vessels and through high endothelial venules. High endothelial venules are present in deep cortex, that is the paracortex of the lymph node. These are post-capillary venules that are lined by cuboidal or columnar epithelium. Function of the high endothelial venules, that is, it provides a channel for the entry of T and B lymphocytes into the lymph node and the reabsorption of the water from lymph. Lymph nodes become palpable only after they get enlarged in infection or in some cancerous conditions. Some clinical correlation about the lymph node. There is inflammation of the lymph node that is called as the lymphadenitis. In lymphadenitis, lymph nodes becomes enlarged due to proliferation of the lymphocytes. The causes are infection, spread of cancer cells to the lymph node, that is the metastasis, and the symptoms of the lymphadenitis, they are the swollen, painful lymph nodes and the fever. Some cancer cells, that is the loose cancer cells from primary cancer lesion, get trapped in the lymph nodes, and these cancer cells multiply in the lymph node and form the secondary cancer lesion, and this is called as the metastasis to the lymph nodes. Let us come to the summary of the lymph node. Lymph node, as such, it consists of capsule, parenchyma, reticular meshwork and sinuses. Capsule, you know, it is dense connective tissue. Then we have parenchyma. In the parenchyma, we are having cortex and the medulla. Cortex, it is the outer darkly stained area which consists of outer nodular cortex and the paracortex. Outer nodular cortex, it lies adjacent to the capsule, lymphatic nodules, lighter germinal center, darker corona, and contains B cells or plasma cells predominantly. Whereas in the paracortex, it is also called as the thymus dependent zone. It lies between the nodular cortex and medulla and it contains predominantly T cells. Medulla, it is the inner lightly stained cord of B lymphocytes separated by medullary sinuses. Then we are having a supporting network, that is the reticular meshwork. It consists of different cells, that is reticular cells, dendritic cells, fibers, and those fibers, they are the reticular fibers. There are three types of sinuses in the lymph node. Subcapsular sinus, you know, it lies beneath the capsule, receives lymph from afferent vessels. Whereas the trabecular sinuses, they lie adjacent to the trabeculae, connect the subcapsular sinus with the medullary sinuses. Whereas medulla or the medullary sinuses, They lie along the medullary cords and drain into the efferent vessels. Thank you.